I'm going to tell you about the 2 times that I almost died and how that affected me. It's 2 different situations, 2 different instances, and they both affected me in this weird way that still impacts me today. So, like I say, 2 different times stretched out over some years. The first one was my fault. And in some alternative universe, I didn't make it. Or even worse, I might have killed somebody else. So what happened was, and this is not something that I'm necessarily proud of, people have done much, much worse, but this is not something I'm really necessarily proud of. Hopefully I've learned from it. But if anybody knows me, I'm more of a smoker than a drinker. I'll sip on something, but I'm more of a social drinker. It's got to be like a reason, a purpose. Smoking, life is the purpose. Life is the reason. Anyway, so I was going to go visit a really, really close friend of mine, and he stayed on the other side of town. So I had to take a freeway, and it does these twists and these turns, and it takes like maybe 20 minutes to get there. So when I sip, I'm not the smallest guy, I'm not the biggest guy, but I'm not the smallest guy, like 6'2", 240, 235, something like that, built like a linebacker. So I can handle a drink or two, but still, you got to be careful. So normally what I would like to do is I'd like to have like a little sip of something and then get to my destination and then drink there and then either post up there or get a cab or an Uber or a ride, you know what I'm saying? But like, I don't want to be wasted and then be driving. So I figure if I take my sip first and then leave, it hasn't really hit me on that short drive distance. Maybe not the most sound logic, but I'm figuring like it's just entering my system. I got maybe 15, 20 minutes before it's really starting to hit me. And I'm only drinking a little bit. So what happened was, I'm thinking I'm taking my little appetizer drink, right? And then get to my boy's spot, and then we're gonna, sip a little bit there and then go to a club that was not too far away from his spot. So I'm thinking I'll take my little, I think it was a shot, like a shot bottle. So I'm gonna take my little shot and drive, meet up with him, yada, yada, yada. Well, on the freeway, I did not feel buzzed. I most definitely would not have been drunk from one shot, 6'2", 240. That's not going to make me drunk. But something happened on the freeway. And I'm a Sigma male. There's certain things that we just feel. It's hard to explain, but it's authentic. And so every time since this moment happened, this happened several years ago, but consistently ever since then, if I travel that freeway, if I enter this certain stretch of freeway, something like comes over my body. Something not good comes over my body. And so what happened was, I'm on my way to go see my friend, like I say, stayed like maybe 20 minutes away, 15 to 20 minutes away. Take my little drink, drive. I was not drunk. I don't even really think I was buzzed. I don't remember feeling that. But what happened was, like I said, I'll always remember this. I remember seeing this one exit. I'm passing this one exit. My friend's exit is about maybe 2 exits. The next is like in 2 exits. So I passed this one particular exit. I got smoke on this one. I passed this exit, and I don't come back to awareness for about 8 miles. I overshot my friend's exit by like 10 exits. I finally kind of like come to awareness, and I'm like, where the fuck And then I get off the freeway, start to realize where I am, turn around, and then I realize I was unaccountable for like 8 miles. I don't remember anything. I don't remember what I was listening to. I don't remember like driving. I don't remember the street signs. So I couldn't have fallen asleep for 8 miles. Come on now. I don't know what the fuck happened. And I don't like that. And so there's part of me that feels like, you know, there's some people that are always like, you know, God was the co-pilot, God took over, so on and so forth. I got issues with organized religion. I'll make a video about that, and go check out some of the other stuff in my channel playlist, because I talk about different stuff from a Gen X perspective. But I don't know what happened. So there's part of me that feels like in some alternative universe, I didn't make it. I couldn't have. Or like I say, even worse, I changed somebody else's life. I killed somebody else, which would be worse. You know, you have your fuck up, that's you. But for you to then change somebody else's life because of your fuck up, that's not cool. So every time I drive, and in particular, when I'm driving the way that I drove that night, if I'm coming back the other way, I don't feel it as much. But when I'm driving that way, I swear every time I see and pass that exit, it's almost like I'm holding my breath until I pass the exit when I became aware again. So, maybe I did have a co-pilot that night, but I did not like that. I did not like that experience at all. And so it disturbed me, it shook me, because like I said, I feel like in an alternative universe, an alternative existence, bad things happen that night. There's no fucking way I could go blank and then wake up or come to 8 miles later and everything was okay. Nah. And the second thing was a little bit more recent. I didn't mention this in any of my recent videos, but it's happened in like the last year. This one was not my fault. And that's what makes that scary. Like the one where it is my fault is scary because, dude, that one little drink, that's never happened, and I don't want it to ever happen again. So, you know, maybe you should just not drink until you get to where you're going to be at, and then just be there. But that one little shot should not have done. And I didn't take any medication or anything. I know the normal things that people would say could have been. Nah. But that's what makes it scary, is like when it's your mistake and you're like, oh man, I didn't know that mistake could have had those type of potential consequences. I'm sorry. But then when it's something that you could not have prevented, was not your fault, that's kind of scary too. And so I had a situation where I was driving in the city, and a lot of times, I've been doing this most of my driving life. I'm not really sure where I get it from. But you know, when you approach your red light, I think in most American cities, you approach your red light, and then obviously, you know, it turns green. But when the light is red for you, that means people should be able to cross in front of you. So it's the white walking figure, it's the white walker. You know, that's the flashing sign, and then it turns into a red person in most, I think, American cities. And then it turns into just a solid, either red hand or solid person, red person, whatever, you know what I'm saying? It turns solid red. And then about maybe 2 seconds after that, the light turns green. So I've kind of noticed that most streetlights, not all, but most streetlights, yellow, red. And then people can walk in front of you and the traffic can cross in front of you. And then the timer starts to go down, and then it hits solid red, meaning no one should walk, no one should cross. About 2 seconds later, it's green, you can go. So a lot of times, for most of my driving life, I peep that it's blinking red. I peep that it's solid red. I know in about 2 seconds, I can start to go. So a lot of times, and I'm not trying to beat people at the light, but because I know this, a lot of times I'm the first person through the light once it turns green. This particular day, for some reason, I didn't do that. I paused. For some reason, I saw the blinking red. Then I saw it was solid red. And sometimes you can even see the other side of the traffic light and see that like that green turned into a yellow. Anyway, I knew the moment of transition was coming. It was about to turn green. And instead of me going solid red, 1, 2, it went solid red. And I took like this deep breath. Literally, I was like, and then I started to drive. And right at that moment, this car going like maybe 60, 70 miles an hour ran the red light in front of me. Pew! And had I done my normal routine, the car would hit me dead on, driver's side, dead on. The best I could have possibly done was to see it speed up and then maybe hit the back passenger door. I mean, the back driver's side door. It would have been impact. It would have at least changed my day. You know what I'm saying? You know how it should be. You're going about your day, oh, flat tire. You're going about your day, oh, something happened in the hood. You're going about your day, you realize you lost your wallet. Just, random stuff that's like, that just changed my whole day. So instead of me proceeding along in my work day and my personal day and yada, 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 I would have had that accident, had to deal with that, assess the damage, call the cops, and make a report, blah, 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 blah. Or further worse, I'm laid up in the hospital. That car is totaled, or that car is done. Now I got to think about getting a new car and those expenses and how the ripple effects that has, which was part of my work and personal life and yada, yada, yada. Or up to a certain level where nothing else matters at this point. I'm potentially holding on for life, or just recalibrating life. Like, I'm not thinking about none of these videos really. Other aspects of my business now have to completely fall off because it's not important anymore. Now maybe you're in such a bad point where it's like you just want family around, you just want friends around, you just want to not be in pain. Maybe the scale of change, the scale of fucked up possibility that could have been had I done my normal routine. But something, and I'm not necessarily someone who believes in fate. I'm not knocking people who do. I'm just saying I'm not necessarily someone who believes in fate. Maybe it's a Sigma male thing. Maybe it's just me. I want to feel like I have a little bit of control. Even if we're all in the matrix and really you have no control, at least let me think I have some control. At least let me think I do. If option A, B, and C was always the only options, at least let it be 3 fucking options. But I'm not someone who necessarily believes in fate or believe things like, and I hate it when people say like God has a purpose, because people only say that in certain situations. And like I said, I feel a certain way about organized religion. I will make another video about that. But, so I'm not someone that's going to be like, you were meant to live, you were meant to die, you must have a reason still here that you have to fulfill, or I don't know what the fuck that was. When it was my fault, I can at least say, you shouldn't have had that shot and drove. Even though it's just a shot, it was only 15, 20-minute drive, there's no way it should have impacted you like that. You were not taking any other drugs or medication. You did have some food on your stomach. You're not a little, like all of these different things. At least I did that. When it's something that's like, what could I have done? I had no idea the dangers, the possibilities lurking. And had I done my normal routine, bam. Butterfly effect. Like, the range of things that now have changed is almost incalculable. And so both situations affected me in this just Weird way. So after the first one, I felt bad. My mom was still around at that moment, still physically here in this life with me. And I knew she would have been just disappointed. She would have been so disappointed. I never told her about it, but I know she, just like with my kids, if I, you would just be like, dude, what are you doing? I didn't bring you this far for you to, but I thought I was making, I won't say the safest decision, but I thought I was making a calculated risk. Like, this one shot for me, my size, should not impact me so severely in the next 15, 20 minutes. But it was my fault. So considering that I don't know what happened, I had to have some co-pilot, something, some alternative universe, things did not go well. After the first one, I you know what I'm saying, I was messed up. Like, I was just in like this fog, like, dude, what happened? Don't do that again. After the second one, it hit me in a certain way that it was like, dude, I felt on a certain level almost like, not that nothing matters, but I felt almost on a certain level like, man, shit could happen at any moment. Shit could happen at any moment. So you make these plans, you have these thoughts, you plant these seeds, you have these relationships, and anything could change it. Positively, but also negatively. And so I remember for like a couple of weeks after the first incident, like I said, I was just like, dude, what happened in that alternative universe? I want to know, but I don't want to know. After the second thing, for a week or two, I was just kind of in this space of like, the moment is the moment. That's all you really have is the moment. We have more than that. But sometimes when you're in a certain fragile space and you kind of need to like back up into a corner and protect yourself, then that's what you hold on to. Like, I only have this moment. But yeah, I just felt like I would share that because some people have had their experiences, and whatever trauma and drama that people have gone through, I feel for you. And hopefully it's something that you can learn from. No matter how tragic it may be, hopefully it's something that you can learn from that maybe saves someone else. So if nothing else, maybe in some of the story that I've told, be careful about, drinking and driving. Be careful about taking risks, period. But, yeah. So that's my story. Just figured I'd drop it for the fam out there. For the Gen X fam out there, and maybe for some of the young kids listening. But this your boy. Smoke instead. It's safer. I'm just bullshitting. I holla.